so happy to be back here. And I love Melanie saying dance party. Okay, so if y'all do not know this, Melanie Diane Howe is the creator of the fantastic countdown timers, like exit timers, like all the things that you see that's like fancy about this. Then that is due to Melanie. So I'm gonna put this back up here. Yeah, good morning, good morning. And the reason why I'm cracking up is she said dance party. And she recently figured out how to do like a transparent countdown timer. And I was just thinking, Melanie, why do I not have this right now? Because I'm like sitting back here, like dancing. Y'all, I'm standing up today. Okay, I'm not sitting down. Like I am out of my seat. I am moving my body. Like I'm just really excited. So thank y'all so much for everybody that reached out. We are just outside of Houston, Texas. Y'all, last week was something else. Hang on, my screens are so dark. I'm like, I can't even see anything. Okay. Yeah, last week was crazy town, crazy pants for anybody that was in Texas. So if you live in Texas, you were affected in Texas, all the things. I am so happy. Y'all, it's like 67 degrees today. I think that's the high. It may be 70 degrees today. And I'm just like, the bipolar weather in Texas. It's something to write about. So hello, Anthony. Thank you for responding to my comment on your last video. Yes, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this community. I'm really excited about today because we are talking all about how to have more energy podcasting. This is really important. So this is the topic of today's podcast episode of the Profit Podcast. If you haven't checked that out, I actually recently added this. This is cool little, ooh, if you want to check out the Profit Podcast. Oh wait, hang on. I always get messed up though. Hang on. Why is this so hard? Why is this so hard on the video? I'm like, hang on. Yes, that's the Profit Podcast. So today's episode is all about how to have more energy with your podcast. Y'all, I hear this all the time. People will tell me, I just don't have enough energy. Like I'm boring myself. This is just, it's not fun for me, or I feel like it's a chore. I feel like it's just something that I have to do every single week. And I want to break away from that. I absolutely want to break away from not feeling like you have enough energy or just feeling like, So I have 5 tips for you. You can actually go see these. I did a YouTube video last week where I planned out this episode. I can actually show you. That's what I love about being able to share my screen and all the things. Yeah. Good morning. So happy that you're here. So happy that you're here. Yeah. I love the standing live. I got to do this more often. I really should, because I love there's just the energy flows. And for anybody that is brand new around here, hasn't joined us live, I normally do these at 1 p.m. Central. And I wasn't able to do that this week. I had a scheduling conflict. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it first thing in the morning. And I think that I need to do this earlier. I have way more energy now than I normally do at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm gonna be thinking about some of these things. I'm gonna see if this time slot works better. And you'll have to tell me in the comments if you're like, yes, this time slot worked fabulous for me. I'd never be able to make a 1 o'clock Central, which would be, hang on, I can do this, 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific, if I'm correct. I feel like I finally have like friends all over the U.S. that I have to like coordinate time zones. And I'm like, wait, hang on. I know I can do this. I know Melanie is Pacific, or no, sorry, Melanie's Eastern. And we have another friend who's on Pacific time zone. So yeah, yes, because 1 p.m. Central is when I'm live. I know, see? And then like we can't like cheer each other on and do all the things. So yes, okay, well maybe it's on the table, okay? It's on the table that we may make some changes in the future. But I wanted to show you, where is it? So this video right here, and I'm not going to play it because it's going to be really loud. I want to see how I can bring this up. Okay, so I'm going to show you. And I recently just redid my YouTube, and I'm really excited about how it looks. So you'll have to go to my YouTube and tell me If it's, yeah. So Tanya, thank you for throwing that in there. You're in London. So if I do 1 p.m., hang on, I think I can do this too, because I think that you are 6 hours ahead of me. So that would be like 7 p.m. your time. If I was 1 p.m. Central, I think it's 6 hours. It's something like that. So it's a lot earlier in the day for you. It's probably, mid-afternoon for you right now. Okay. Okay, guys, I think y'all convinced me. I think we're gonna have to make this work for this time. So definitely, it's on the table. We're gonna consider it. Like I said, I had a scheduling conflict for this week. Let me see. Here we go. Here we go. As long as I don't sing, right? Like, don't sing. The only thing though is like I'm standing up, and when I move this, my webcam moves because it's attached to my whole standing desk contraption. So we need to figure that out. But okay, so this is my YouTube channel. If you've never been there, if you're there right now and you're like, Crystal, I'm watching you live, because it says like right here, it's live. We are on YouTube. We're in our Facebook group, and I'm on my Facebook page. So it's really cool about StreamYard that you can do this all over the place. But I wanted to show you, I did a video last week. And so if you come down to right here, it's under uploads. I know it's on a lot of other playlists, but I wanted you to see the thumbnail, and it's all about creating a podcast outline. And the reason why I'm talking about this today, when we're talking about how to have more energy, I am like very raw in this video, especially because I actually did this video during the winter storm last week in Texas. So, Mama doesn't have a lot of makeup on, like all the, like my hair's done today. Like, none of that happened in this video. So if you want to see the uncut version of what it really looks like around here most days, go watch that video. But I actually show you how I outline today's episode. So today's podcast episode, and I have the link already up here. So let me add that. Today's podcast episode, you can go listen to it here. It's crystalprofit.com/ oh, see, hang on, I put the wrong episode number. Don't look at that. I was just kidding. I was just finishing episode 232, which is why I was on my brain. This episode is 231. So you can go listen to the episode. I actually added this video to it, but for those of you watching on YouTube, I wanted to show you where it was. So it's all about how I outlined the podcast for today, how I came up with all the ideas that I'm sharing in today's episode. And so I just wanted to give you that extra behind the scenes of how I do my podcast stuff, because I know that this is what y'all want to know. Yes, there's the tactical things like, well, how do you outline this and how do you do that? But you also want to know, what do you actually do? I get this question like all the time. It's like, what does the process actually look like for you? Not you teaching someone else to do it, because sometimes I will tell people, like, you can do it this way, but I do it this way. And so I want to encourage you to kind of take like different pieces of the puzzle and kind of do it together for what works best for you. Because I mean, y'all, if you've been around here, hang on, let me just show you a little bit behind the scenes. If you've been around here for a second, you know that, hang on, I'm breaking stuff. This is literally the outline for this episode that aired today. Do you see? It's like not even half a page. It's 5 bullet points. This is what I show you in that video. Like, I'm going through writing all these things down. And the reason why I wanted to share you these things, because when people say, well, what do you do? What does this process look like for you? It's very different now than whenever I first started. Super, super different. Very, very different. But I want to show you that this is actually what I do, and this is what this process looks like. But if you are still having to script everything whenever you're creating your podcast content, that's okay too. Because y'all, this is I looked at it earlier. Hang on. I have my Buzzsprout pulled up right here. So let's just do, those are big numbers. I can't do that in my head. Y'all, I'm not a math whiz. I'm not going to pretend to be a math whiz. So let me add this up on my little calculator. I have 480 podcast episodes between the Profit Podcast and my daily podcast. I have almost 500 podcast episodes that I've created. So this isn't 6 months into my podcast. This isn't 10 episodes into my podcast. This is me doing this. This is me talking about podcasting. So I just want to share a little behind the scenes. If you want to go watch that video, go watch it, because I think that, it's just a good video of me being myself, my little goofy self. So if you like this here today, you'll really appreciate that video. But I put this down, then I'm like, wait, we're going to talk about these things. Ways to have more energy podcasting. So I share more personal, we can even call it a little TMI in the actual podcast episodes. So if you want to hear those stories and all the things behind, like, that go really deep into this, go listen to that. You don't want to miss it, because there's some things in there that I'm like, did I just say that? I'm going to lose a bunch of listeners today because I'm talking about, like, just things that come up that not everybody talks about in podcasting, that have to do with, we'll just say, bodily functions. Okay. There's a lot of bodily function talk in this episode, more so than there's ever been in any other episode. So you've been warned. If you haven't listened to it yet, you have been warned. It's there. Okay. It's there. All right. So I am going to run through these real fast, and then I want you to go listen to today's podcast episode. But the first one is drinking more water. So I had actually, it was a previous student of mine. She came to me and she was like, this is going to sound really weird. I was like, okay. I'm like bracing myself, like, what is this, like, about to be a true confession type thing? Like, what's actually happening? And she was like, I get dry mouth so bad, so bad. And is this something you suffer from? Is this something that you've, like, encountered in your podcasting? And I honestly haven't. And then I started thinking, it's probably because I drink so much water. That's probably what it is. And I haven't always done this, right? Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm perfect. I have those huge, like, jugs of water that those, like, fitness and, like people walk around. They're like, I'm drinking my water. And I have, like, it's 8 a.m., 10 a.m. And then it goes down to, like, the whole day. I don't do that. But I do drink. And I got to tell you, it's not regular water. This is a true confession moment for me. I actually have one right here. So this is a sparkling water. Our family is addicted to them. Okay. Like, I should just be drinking regular water, but especially after all the stuff that went down last week, like, there was a lot of water in Houston. They were like, don't drink your water. You better boil it, or it should be, like, bottled water, because don't trust it. Yeah, I drink a lot of sparkling water, but I drink water. It's not just coffee, which I love coffee. If you've been around here for a while, you know I love me some coffee, but I'm constantly hydrating. And I think that the reason why I don't have dry mouth problems is because I'm always drinking something. I'm always drinking. Like, I should post more pictures of, like, I'll have my little cup, which it's funny, I have a can here. I normally have, like, a cup with a straw, and then I'll have a coffee, and then at lunch I'll have, like, another bubble water, and sometimes I'll have the big Topo Chicos. Oh, those are my favorite. Like, I had this thought earlier today. I said, I know I will have absolutely made it, be super uber successful when I have a mini fridge in my office that has Topo Chicos. Nothing. And I'm going to talk about cans. Bottled Topo Chico limes. Like, that's where it's at, y'all. I'm a simple person. I'm simple. I don't need fancy things. Don't give me designer handbags. I could care less about designer shoes. But if you give me a mini fridge that I can have, and an espresso machine. Okay, now I'm going to get really fancy. An espresso machine and a mini fridge with lime Topo Chicos, it's where it's at. Okay, we're getting off track, but those are my favorite beverages. Okay, drink more water. It gives you more energy. If you want a little bit of this, like what I have going on, those are like these, I'm sharing with you my secrets of how I have so much energy. And I do this too. We'll get to this one in a second. But it's all about the timing too. We're going to get to that one. I'm jumping ahead. But the next one, number one, drink more water. Number two, stand up when you're recording. I'm literally doing this right now. It's the reason why I'm doing this right now. I have so much more energy. Actually, Now I was going to lower everything. Oh, wait, hang on. I'm out of focus. I was going to lower everything and show you just the difference that it has, but I don't even want to do that. I want to be in it. I want to be in like this flow, this energy flow right now. And it's from standing up. And I know I'm like on camera, I'm live, but it's the same whenever I feel kind of slumpy and, oh, okay, I got to record a podcast episode. I'm in my chair. I'm kind of like hunched. I don't really feel this. Well, it's because no. Why would you? Like, put your, excuse me, and the bubble water makes me burp a little bit. Sorry about that. But it like, put your shoulders back. Like, get in a frame of like, I'm ready to have this energy flow through me that helps me present my best foot forward for a podcast episode. And honestly, here's one. Hang on. I was like, hang on, I never have a microphone too far away. I just want to make sure it wasn't attached to anything before I totally pulled it off the shelf. I've been known to do that a time or two. You could have a handheld microphone. I had to do this before I had this is a boom arm that we like drilled into the desk. And before I had this installed, I was using this handheld microphone for about a week and a half. And I loved it. I loved it because I could sit at my desk and just talk, or I could like hold this, it would be attached to something obviously, but I could hold it and I felt like I was on stage, and it made like me creating content feel that much bigger because I'm not just talking into a microphone and talking to myself. It reminded me that the message that I'm sharing is for other people. It's for other people to hear the message because it felt more like you're on a stage. So this is another trick. If you want to stand up while you're recording, I encourage you to buy a handheld microphone. This isn't super expensive. The cord was probably $8 on Amazon. And I want to say I got two of the handheld mics. I want to say $60 in total. So maybe it was $35, $40 for this microphone. Okay, you have to have an interface because it's an XLR, but still, totally worth it. Totally worth it. I'm coming back. Don't worry. I'm just trying to make sure this doesn't fall. If I put it on the ground, I'd trip over it. Okay, stand up while you're recording. Number 3, working out. Working out. And I'm not going to be your fitness, health guru, boot camp instructor. I'm not all about that. I love for people when they're healthy and all that, but ain't nobody got time for, like, I'm worried about my own self, like getting my own butt in the gym, like doing things. I say in the gym, but we canceled our gym membership last year during COVID. So when I say my gym, I mean like a room that we turned into kind of like a mini gym in our house that has weights everywhere. And I'm always terrified the kids are going to like drop a weight on their toe. We're going to have to go to the ER, like all the things. But work out on a regular basis. It's how you can get more energy into your body. And I don't mean work out after you recorded. Although, I mean, if you're working out, you're getting it in, that's awesome. But I recommend on the days that you have to record your podcast, work out on that day. And most of you aren't recording as much as I am. Like I said, I have close to 500 episodes at this point. I record 2 episodes a week, and then I have 5 episodes for my daily podcast. Now, because of batching, I usually don't do like 1 episode per day. It's like I try to do it, like fit it into chunks of time. But on those days when I have to record, I try to get in a workout. I try to get something that moves my body. And if I'm like, oh crap, I can't get on the bike, I can't go run, I don't have time for this, then I recommend, like Melanie was talking about earlier, a dance party. Turn on some music, get your phone, turn something on, and just get your body moving. Like do some jumping jacks. Like, come on, like just move your body for a little bit before you start recording, because that will wake you up. It gives you more like, even just doing that, I feel like I have more behind my voice, and my voice feels stronger. It's coming from like a deeper place inside of me, as opposed to someone who's just sitting here and, yeah, I guess I record my podcast. I'm trying to sound, more enthusiastic, but no one wants to listen to that. I don't want to listen to that. I want to listen to someone who's excited and energetic about it, because Y'all, most of the time I'm listening to a podcast to be inspired, to be motivated, to learn something. And I don't want to learn from people that are boring. I'm just saying it. I don't want to learn from people that are boring and don't have that energy behind them, because if they're not excited, why would I be excited? Why would I be motivated to do the things that they're saying or to, follow up on anything that they're talking about? Okay. So number 3, workout. Number 1, drink more water. Number 2, stand up when you're recording. Number 3, working out. Number 4, and I'm going to have to grab off the shelf again. I should have been more prepared. Hang on. So, where is it? It's not in here. It has moved probably from the last time I grabbed it. I think it's on my nightstand. But I have a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. If you've been around here for a second, you've heard me talk about it on the podcast. You've heard me mention it. I cannot recommend this book enough. And it's not it's not like the Game of Thrones, right? It's not George R.R. Martin's version of like, this is how you live a productive life. No, it's not that long. It is a very short, very strategic book that you can digest in a month, okay? Like, let's just give you a very practical goal in the month of March, okay? Especially if you have spring break, if you have like a time off where you're like, I'm going to take a break, you got to read this book. You really, really have to, because in there, they talk about your highest energy time. And I have been a time management nut. I've been a productive, like, oh, I'm going to check all the things off my to-do list. Like, I've been that person for as long as I've been a mom. I will say that. I've always been pretty productive, like in my time before I was ever a mom. But now my oldest son, like, he's about to be 12. And I can tell you that I've gotten progressively better over the years. But it wasn't until I read this book that something clicked and was like, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. That's where I'm totally missing the mark. And it was not being observant of my highest energy time. This right now, like what you're watching in real time, is my highest energy time. Between the hours, I would say, of 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. Now, I get up at 5, okay? But I'm not like, spring up out of bed and let's like tackle the morning and I'm not like that at 5 a.m. Okay. I am, okay, I guess I'll get out of bed. Let me go make my coffee. Nobody else is awake, so I don't have to talk to anybody. Like, my coffee's really kicked in and going by 6:30, usually when my youngest kids come down, and they always come into the office. I'm working on stuff, but that's when I'm the most focused, is in the morning. And I figured this out about myself. I'm not recording podcasts. I have, for sure. I've recorded YouTube videos and podcasts. I don't like to do it in the morning. I will if it's like a time crunch and I have to get it done. I will do it in the morning, but I don't like to do that. What I prefer is I like to do all of my planning. So I will plan in the morning. I will do behind the scenes stuff in the morning. Sometimes it's when I edit my podcast, I edit my videos, and I do a lot of the things that require a lot of focus, but I don't actually have to be performative, right? Like what I'm doing right now, I would call that performing. It's like kind of entertaining. I don't want to be like, oh, this is great. Like I'm on camera, but I don't really care because I need coffee and I feel like crap and I'm not awake. Like I wouldn't do that to y'all, because you would never come back here. You would just be like, that Crystal chick is really boring. She's like, I don't even know what she's talking about. She's not even making sense, which that still happens from time to time. Don't get me wrong. That absolutely still happens. But my highest energy time is from around 7 a.m. to about 11 a.m. And then I get hungry. And then I go from, I'm kind of a little hungry to I get hangry. And like I said, you'll have to listen to today's podcast episode for some more of the behind the scenes. Like I share lots of stories in there. I share lots and lots of stories of like progressively throughout my day, how things work. But if you typically watch, this show, like these lives, I do them at 1 p.m. Central. There's a reason why I do them at that time. Because this is some of my most productive time, it's whenever I usually like to record podcast episodes, create my YouTube content, record other videos that I have to for my business. But then I get hungry and then I'm like, okay, I got to eat lunch and then I got to have my afternoon cup of coffee. Okay, I don't have a lot of vices. Okay, I don't have a lot of vices in my life. Coffee is one of them, though. Coffee is like the vice. Between that and watching The Office, like those are my two vices. Okay, don't take them away from me. Do not try to take The Office and my coffee away from me, or we will have words. We will have fighting words. Okay, just fair warning. You have been warned. You know. But I usually have a cup of coffee in the afternoon, and then I do my lives. That's when I typically do them. So I want you to find those chunks of time in your day when you have the highest amount of energy. Okay, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, done. Anything after 4, I am absolutely spent. I have zero energy. I'm usually dragging my feet like, oh my gosh, like, when is it time for bed? Like, because I get up at 5. Like, I just have this like steady decline. So I'm not recording episodes then. I'm not recording YouTube videos. I'm not trying to plan anything. I'm not trying to create a bunch of stuff. Usually if I'm doing things in the late afternoon, it's recording interviews because I can still be on for interviews because I'm letting the other person talk, right? If I'm steering the entire conversation, then, I'm doing something wrong. The other person should be speaking a lot more than I am. So podcast interviews, different story. My own solo stuff, I do not do that in the afternoon because it's not my peak time. So I want you to get the book, The One Thing, grab it, read it in the month of March, make it your like, okay, this is going to be the one book that I read. Even if you're not a reader, I did the audiobook first, and then I had to order the hard copy because they have all these graphs and quotes and just amazing things in there. So I recommend just grabbing the book. Yeah. How long do you research a topic? So great question. It depends. It depends on what it is. So like I said earlier, if you missed it, my friend Fred, I love your name, by the way. If you missed it, you can go back here. I did this episode right here, this YouTube video that shows you literally how long I researched today's podcast episode. And again, it just depends on the content. It depends on how well I know the topic. Am I teaching something that's brand new to me, but I'm really excited about it? Like Clubhouse, this was a recent podcast episode. I had to do a little bit more for that episode than I typically do because I didn't know a bunch about Clubhouse. I wanted to share about it, but I'm like, I don't really know all the ins and outs. I need to make sure I'm getting like the terms right. And I took a lot more notes for that episode. And then if I am researching a topic that someone has asked me about and I really just don't know the answer, but I'm going to go find it, that's going to look a little bit different. So it just depends. I would ask to you, my follow-up question to you would be, how deep are you going into your topic? So we actually, and I think it's the same guy. So, and I'm going to mispronounce this, the Zenbei judo team. I want to say I had somebody on YouTube recently ask me, and it was you or it was someone else that is in the martial arts community that was saying they wanted to start a podcast that was researching previous like judo athletes, and they wanted to share about their stories and the different things that they've done in the judo athlete community. And I told them, I was like, wow, that's really inspiring. I think that's super cool to share, almost like a biography about these other people that have been in this sport. And I would think that would require a lot more research, right? Where you're just like, okay, I got to figure out, when did they start? What was their story? What was their why behind it? So it may take a lot more research depending on your topic and how deep you're trying to go with your audience. So great question, but unfortunately, it's going to vary from topic to topic and how well you know what it is you're talking about on your podcast. But I definitely have tons of YouTube videos on how to pick your topic, okay? I have a YouTube video specifically that I'm thinking about that's how to pick your one topic, okay? Because you don't need to talk about 50 different things in your episode that's not related. If they're related, different story, because it's one topic, okay? So if you have any other questions about that, let me know, because I think that's an important one to really address as you go into creating your podcast content. Okay, the last one is having a plan. having a plan. This is how you can have more energy with your podcast. And this just comes down to being super nerdy, right? I mean, I'm going to call it what it is. I have more energy when I have a plan in front of me, whether it is a Post-it note with 4 bullet points on it or a notebook that has 5 bullet points on it. If I have something in front of me that keeps me on track, I have more energy that I can put into the content as opposed to energy that's being wasted spinning my wheels, like behind the scenes, just like, wait, what was I talking about? What was I going to say? I know I was going to share a story about that, but what was I really going to, I lost my train of thought. Like, do you see all that wasted energy that is just like going out the door? It's just like literally leaving you. It's flying away. It's wasted energy when you don't have a plan. So I encourage you, whether it is a Google Doc, it is a notebook, the notes app on your phone. It's just a few bullet points. Whatever you do to plan your episodes, I recommend having a plan. Having a plan, whether it is a solo episode, an interview, if you have you and your co-host, however you do it, please have a plan because it's going to help you stay on topic, have more energy that you're not wasting, and it's going to make everything flow a lot easier. It's going to just keep that energy really high. So that's all I have for y'all today. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I am excited about this new time. I don't know. I'm sitting here. I'm like, we may have to switch our time up and do it at 10 a.m. because this is really fun. I feel it. But now, again, going back to what we were just talking about, my stomach just started growling. And I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all, it's only 10:30. It's 10:30 in the morning here, just outside of Houston, Texas. And I'm hungry. Hungry already. Story of my life. So I'm gonna go get some grub and get ready. I have another live in a little bit, but I wanted to remind you, if you want to have more energy with your podcast, go listen to this episode because it will give you some ideas that you can say, okay, I'm not really big into working out, but I can go for a walk. I'm not super big into drinking a lot of water, but maybe I can do it on the days whenever I'm recording. I will force myself to drink an extra glass of water on the days that I'm recording. And maybe I don't know when the highest time, like the highest energy is for me, but I'm going to figure it out. I think that it's worth at least thinking about how you are producing your podcast to get the most energy, because if you're not making it a priority to have energy behind your podcast, then it's going to be an energy sucker. It really is. If you are not putting things into place, like putting things into motion to really have higher energy on your show, it's not going to happen. Because if you don't do the work, no one else is going to do it for you. So I encourage you to figure out ways that you can have more energy on your show. So thank y'all so much for being here. Yeah, Cedric says, thanks, y'all. This is so much fun. And I wish y'all the best in creating your podcast. We will be back on Tuesday. I'll let you know. I'll let you know if we decide on the 10 a.m. time. Because like I said, I really like it. I enjoy this time. And as always, remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere. Bye, guys.